Welcome back to the Truth Be Told Project. This is the first in a series of videos that responds to some comments left on videos from the Truth Be Told Project regarding videos made about a group of people referred to as Hebrew Israelites or Black Hebrew Israelites. We are picking the best comments that need responding to. For a lot of them, they are just echo chamber responses, but these are the key responses. There have been a total of a little over 200 videos put out from this channel. Out of those 200 videos, there may have been around 20 videos about the Hebrew Israelites. This will be the last batch of videos coming from this channel about the Hebrew Israelites. And if you want more content about the Hebrew Israelites, we advise you to consult other channels. Vocab Malone makes tons of content about them. But anyway, let's get into it. So, we're going to be responding to two comments. The first is from Peter Johnson, 2181. Peter says, and I quote, "Some people believe Jesus died and was raised from the dead physically. You can believe that, but not believe that one was black and the other white, which is more probably. But you have the freedom to believe what you believe or not." To give some context, this is in reference to a video that brings attention to the lack of probability of God ordering a black couple to give birth to twins. One of the twins is black and the other twin is a Caucasian man named Esau. Thanks for your comment. The question of Jesus's historical appearance is a complex one, and there are many different interpretations. While the New Testament doesn't explicitly describe his race, most scholars agree he would have looked like other people from the region where he lived. The idea of Jesus being white is a relatively recent development in art, and it's important to understand the historical and cultural context behind that portrayal. Ultimately, people's beliefs about Jesus' appearance are often tied to their own cultural and religious backgrounds. It's a matter of faith and interpretation, and I respect that people have different perspectives. There are a few issues with the ideas behind your question. The first is the oversimplification of complex issues. Reducing the historicity of Jesus and racial identity to a simple probability question ignores the nuances of both theological interpretations and historical contexts. Secondly, there is a false dichotomy. The comment presents a false choice between believing in the resurrection and believing Jesus could have been a different race than traditionally depicted. These are not mutually exclusive beliefs. Lastly, there is the lack of historical awareness. Discussions about the historical Jesus often involve complex historical and archaeological evidence, as well as theological interpretations. The comment doesn't engage with this complexity. Book Tale of the Borgia Pope 1927 says, "I'll answer you. Esau is the reincarnation of Cain, who committed the first murder. The mark of Cain was that he was left with no melanin as a result of committing the first murder in human history. He is reincarnated through Esau. Now, the Bible speaks heavily about reincarnation and predestiny because the God knows the beginning to the end. Esau was created as a sword by God to punish the children of Israel because God knew that we would fall away through our disobedience. And I can give you scriptures showing God calling Edomites his sword, punisher, or Google KJV for the proper translation. I can also show scripture speaking of reincarnation. I can also give you the book and page number of a white female Bible scholar who asserts that the mark of Cain was that he was turned white. This is a response to Book Tale of the Borgia Pope. 1927. First, let me say, thank you for sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate the effort you put into exploring these ideas. I'd like to offer a few points that might help clarify why many scholars and theologians have reservations about this interpretation. First, let's address different biblical figures. The Bible treats Cain and Esau as completely separate individuals with distinct roles and stories. The idea that Esau is simply a reincarnation of Cain isn't supported by any clear scriptural evidence. In the Bible, Cain's story and Esau's story are told independently, with no indication that their identities overlap in this way. Secondly, let's address the mark of Cain. The claim that the mark of Cain meant Cain was left with no melanin is not found in the text. The Bible does mention a mark placed on Cain, but it doesn't describe it in terms of skin color or melanin. Many historical interpretations that try to connect this mark with race have been discredited, as they often stem from ideas that have been used to justify racism rather than reflect the biblical message. Third, let's address the issue of reincarnation versus resurrection. While you mention reincarnation and predestination, it's important to note that traditional Hebrew or Christian doctrine distinguishes between reincarnation, being born again into a new body, and resurrection, being raised to a new, transformed life. The Bible clearly speaks of resurrection, especially in the context of Christ's resurrection, rather than reincarnation. As a matter of fact, the Bible says in Hebrews 9:27 through 28, that it's appointed for men to die once, and after that comes judgment. There's no such thing as reincarnation as far as the Bible is concerned. Fourth, let's address the sword, metaphor, and divine purpose. The notion that Esau was created as a sword to punish the children of Israel is a metaphorical interpretation that oversimplifies a much more complex biblical narrative. Biblical texts use rich symbolism, and reducing these symbols to a single idea can lead to misunderstandings of God's intentions and the historical context. Lastly, let's address the use of specific sources. It's great to refer to scriptures and scholars when exploring these topics. However, it's also important to look at the broader consensus among biblical scholars. Many interpretations that focus on skin color or reincarnation in this context are not widely accepted in mainstream theology, which favors interpretations that align more closely with the historical and literary context of the Bible. They are also used as a pretext to support racist ideologies. As you have said, and I quote, "Do better, bro." That same statement applies to you. Well, that will conclude this week's video response to the Hebrew Israelite commenters. Thanks for tuning in to the Truth Be Told project. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell to stay updated on the release of the latest content. Stay tuned. We may respond to your comment next. If you want to comment now, go ahead. You may win a response. Remember, don't just live by default, live by design, God's design. Peace.